It was not terribly offensive, but it felt rushed. There was no breathing space to let things settle. The main antagonist, built up over 5 seasons, dies, and it is unceremoniously reduced to a newsreel gag. Speaking as someone who checked out in season 4 and did not watch season 5, apart from the first episode, I felt that whatever plot happened before this was largely irrelevant, partly because I did not feel like I missed much starting from episode 8. The show went on for too long. Or more aptly, the show ran out of substance around season 3. I think that is disrespectful to the audience, who have been loyal and were trusting the show to mean something. People say scorched earth, more like scratched oval office. That is perfectly valid outrage. Homelander was set up as a threat to humanity, akin to a walking weapon of mass destruction. The lackluster season 4 and 5 probably gave the audience the illusion that the promised payoff would happen in the finale. When it does not, naturally people weave the previous hinting and winking and fact that they trudged along through a subpar story for so long as being led on by false advertising. My view is this: given the structural problems of the show and the narrative laid out by the creator, they never wanted to make Homelander snap in the first place. The show was at first a critique of celebrity culture, commodification, corporate interest, and it slightly touched on the military industrial complex. Somewhere along the line, the critique of mega corporations was dropped for what I have to imagine are obvious reasons and conflicts of interest. After all, the closest thing to what in the real world is Amazon. The other two critiques morphed into a scathing indictment of Trump and the MAGA movement as a whole. When it failed to say anything substantive or adapt Trumpist ideology onto the universe of The Boys, and instead using characters and plot points to crudely mock real world counterparts, the ceiling of what was possible was naturally set somewhere underwhelming. In the minds of the creators, Homelander has gone scorched earth through a not so well portrayed capture of American institutions. Actually, massacring people is but a vague suggestion. Unfortunately, this 2 season long miscommunication between the author and the audience only comes to light in the final season. The setup without payoff has primed an audience to see Homelander finally snap. The creator, in turn, pats himself on the back for creating a crude mockery of his political opponents. A political win. Speaking of politics, I feel that the ending is a triumph of liberalism, and I mean that pejoratively. The story got defanged of its anti-establishment bite and scathing critique of real-world institutions plaguing our world. Instead of that, the villainy was pinned on one character, and with him having died unceremoniously without inflicting any lasting damage, the world returns to a liberal ideal of normalcy. No systemic change occurs. In fact, any semblance of systemic change was dropped as far back as season 3. The only person motivated to enact any kind of systemic change is portrayed as a villain. The existence of superheroes is a fundamental power imbalance in society. 5 seasons of suffering because one of them went wrong. Yet, the only thing the show has to say about it is that a return to status quo is better than a systemic solution. This evokes a certain liberal mindset where systemic solutions are discouraged in favor of personal responsibility and being a good, law-abiding citizen. The burden is placed on the individual. Butcher is supposed to represent systemic change. He is portrayed as distraught, unstable, and ruthless. He dies, and his entire arc is wrapped up in less than 10 minutes. What I want to understand is the creative process behind this entire thing. What kind of people and decisions led to the creation of this season? It puzzles me that they chose to include a season's worth of plot development squeezed into a final episode, which begs the question, what the heck were the other 7 episodes for? I am willing to accept the premise of the creator, but having experienced what he has to say and show for it, I am underwhelmed. In the end, the boys represent a tragic waste of potential as a piece of artwork. Yet, looking at the structural problems faced by the show since season 3, I can only say that I was hardly surprised.